from a family of artists, and it was all around me all the time. So when I was about 5 years old, is when I can remember back then, is I started drawing, and people liked what I drew. Well, my family anyway, so who knows if it's true or not. But the older I got, I enjoyed doing it. I enjoyed scribbling more than paying attention in class. I enjoyed drawing quite a bit. It was actually a good way to escape whatever the drama of the day was and create new drama in the drawings. As far as the web design goes, well, I never set out to be a web designer. When I was a kid, I knew I wanted to be in the art field somehow. My mom was fine arts painter, did realistic portraiture. She did that for a while, and she also did fashion and all that stuff. And my aunt, also an artist. My other aunt loves to bake and does great calligraphy. Another aunt of mine was a great cook and chef. So, like I said, came from a long line of artists. As far as web design goes, as I said, I never planned on it. I went to college for illustration and got into computers there. I took a one Photoshop class and loved it, and taught the rest of the programs to myself. And after I got out of college, while during college I was doing jobs here and there, and then just ended up in the web design industry.
Are there areas of art or web design that frustrate you?
Yes, a blank page. Two reasons why a blank page can frustrate an artist. One is having no limitations in what you can do. That's frustrating because where do you start? Where do you begin? What do you want to tell? What's the story you're trying to go for? What design, what mood you want to go for? So when you have endless possibilities, you don't know where to begin and end. That can be frustrating. More frustrating than having limitations put on you by a client, let's say, of things that you're only allowed to show or use or whatever the case may be, and you want to do something beyond what the client's expectations are, is also frustrating. But truly the most frustrating is a blank page where you have endless possibilities, because then you're dependent on yourself, and that is the most frustrating because it kind of shows what's inside of you. So you have the added pressure of, oh my God, I have to do something great. But the thing is, you just have to start. You just got to put a brush stroke down, a picture down, something, anything.
Do you like art over web design or vice versa?
It depends on what art and what web design. Web design is a good tool to show the capabilities of whoever wants a web page done. So it's more advertising than anything. And art is also advertising, except that you're advertising yourself over someone else, or religious figures or whatever. I would definitely have to say some of the best art I've seen are from Michelangelo. Da Vinci was amazing. He was just a true Renaissance man. He could draw like no one's business. He also did stuff that no one, would do at that time. To learn more about anatomy, he would, dissect cadavers and learn the muscles and all that, and as well as build weaponry, design weapons, newer and better weapons. I mean, he was just a genius. It's regular art. I don't know. It comes in different places. I mean, I also like comic books. Some of the best comic book artists, out there are just amazing. Nothing and everything. I'm a web designer like every other web designer. I may or may not have this skill set, or they might have this skill set. But what truly differentiates web designers is what differentiates people. Everyone's different. Everyone has their own personalities, and people's personalities and thought of how life should be comes out in their work. No two people are the same. Even though they might do the same type of work, they do it differently, use different techniques. So, like I said, nothing and everything.
Is there a piece of work that you are most proud of?
No. I generally tend to dislike whatever I do, even though it is what people like, what clients might want, and they favor it. I am the hardest critic on my own self, so I never truly like anything I do until maybe a couple of years down the line, when I look back at some of the stuff I've done and I realize, oh, that came out pretty good. Or a couple more years down the line and I'm like, oh my god, that was crap, I can't believe I did that. So.
Are you happy with the choice of becoming an artist and web designer?
Sure. I mean, like, I'm always changing, so it's never, I don't consider myself a web designer anymore. I'm trying to do different things. I like photography, so I started learning it. I'm not the best at it, but it's something I enjoy doing, so I'm going to keep at it. I've also started getting into motion graphics, which I prefer now. I mean, I figure every 5 years I tend to change the type of work I do. Like I said, I started out as an illustrator, then I moved down into computer graphics, Photoshop work, making art through Photoshop, became a web designer, then became a Flash animator. That gradually went into video motion graphics. That led to doing a little bit of photography here and there to learn lighting and stuff like that.
Which is more difficult in your opinion, web design or art painting?
It's two different animals, I think. You have to decide, what's harder, to please yourself or to please others. Because that's what it really comes down to. With painting or drawing or whatever that has to deal with fine arts, you're trying to get out your story, whatever it is. You're not trying to please anyone, or at least you shouldn't be, because fine arts is all about you, and you can't think about, will this hang into the gallery, or will the masses like what I've done. No, for me it's about what I want to express. At the end of the day, if I finish the fine arts piece, a painting or a drawing or whatever, I have to think, is it expressing what I wanted, or did it change into something else? Did I keep with my original thought? Now, when you're doing things for others, like web design, or you're being paid to do something someone else told you to do, then you have to keep in mind, okay, I have to make this for myself to be proud of, as well as meet all the goals and criteria that the client has asked of you. So there will be certain times where the client will want something that you disagree with, but at the end of the day, you're selling yourself. So it's what the client wants that you have to give, because if he doesn't want it or doesn't like it, then guess what? You may get paid for that job, but you might not get another one from him. So you have to both please yourself and the client, so there's a lot more compromise. You can't take anything too seriously when you're doing stuff for others, or for yourself for that matter. You'll drive yourself crazy.
What suggestions or advice would you give to an aspiring artist or web designer?
What advice, huh? I guess the most relevant advice is never get stuck on yourself. Always try to learn and keep up with the new technologies. You may not want to use it, you may not want to deal with it, but the best thing is to know that it's out there. At the very least, have the basic fundamentals and concepts of the new technologies. Also, never think what you've done is the best thing you've done. You might, if you go into advertising or you have to deal with clients, whenever you show your work, you always present it as the best thing you've ever done, because your confidence projects out and convinces the client that it is great and it is the best thing that's ever seen. Because sometimes the hardest thing is the client wants something but they don't know what it is. It's your job to make them aware of what it is they want and what they need. Don't give them what you want because you think it's cool but will do nothing for the client. You want to make the client happy as far as that business goes. As for yourself, if you want to go into fine arts or do stuff for yourself, never be satisfied with what you've done. You always need to learn different techniques of whatever it is you're doing, whether it's painting or filmography or editing or whatever it is. Always learn and be efficient. The other thing is, there's plenty of people out there that do this kind of work. And remember to do it because it makes you happy. You can't just get bored of it and move on to something else, or you'll never accomplish anything. As far as working for others in advertising or whatever, always keep up with the newest, latest thing. Don't get stuck on yourself, and don't think whatever you've done is the greatest thing, because then you won't want to learn the new things, or you won't want to try different things. When you do something and it's called your style, yes, it's your style, but always learn and try to better yourself. You don't have to be stuck in one style for the rest of your life. Your personality is your style, and a lot of people will tell you, you have to be consistent, which is true. You do have to be consistent, but you have to be consistently good at what you're doing. Not draw the same thing or paint the same thing or design the same way. Your personality needs to show through. That's your style. My name is Bentsi Beberashvili.
Thank you very much.